70 potential jurors grilled with intense questioning from defense and prosecution, each of them called by number.
This is a chance for the lawyers to hone in on very specific jurors and ask questions that they think are going to be relevant to, do I want this person on the jury? Do I want to knock them off? Each side has a certain number of strikes.
12 jurors and 4 alternates to be selected for the trial.
I think you can be pretty certain that both sides have done some research on these jurors.
Cameras prohibited during its selection, a long but steady process. Baldwin entering inside the courtroom with attorneys this morning.
How are you feeling this morning?
The actor charged with involuntary manslaughter for the fatal shooting of cinematographer Helena Hutchins back in 2021.
I would never point a gun at anyone and pull a trigger at them, never.
A live round discharging from Baldwin's prop gun on set. The actor holding the gun, but did he cause the gun to fire?
Honest to God, if I felt that I was responsible, I might have killed myself if I thought I was responsible. I don't say that lightly.
An opening statement is scheduled for tomorrow in Santa Fe. I'm Faith Ibuanu, KOAT Action 7 News.
Thanks. Back in March, a guilty verdict for the film set armorer Hannah Gutierrez-Reed. She was found guilty of the same involuntary manslaughter charge Baldwin is facing. Reed was sentenced to 18 months in prison. She's now appealing her conviction. And stay with KOAT for continuing coverage of Baldwin's trial. We'll be live streaming that trial on our website and app and on the very local app. And watch Action 7 News for team coverage each day.
A local family is one step closer to getting justice for their lost loved one. 18-year-old Lorenzo Romero was shot and killed at a house party in southeast Albuquerque on Halloween in 2021. Since then, family members have not gotten any answers until now.
I mean, what does this all mean to have all these updates finally?
It first reopens kind of everything that was never even really fully closed, that I don't think will ever be closed, but it just brings up all these emotions.
Now, 3 years later, how police were able to arrest 2 people and how the case is now inspiring other families affected by gun violence. Brianna Albizu has that story coming up at 6.
A new movie inspired by a series of notorious murders in Albuquerque. A Target 7 investigation looks into how much of the story is true.
Sometimes you can't just stick to the facts because sometimes when you're telling facts in a storyline, it can be boring.
That's the writer and producer of Boneyard, admitting he took some liberties with the story. Tonight at 6, Target 7 talks to the former Albuquerque police chief, played by Curtis 50 Cent Jackson in the film. His take on the theories the movie suggests police considered. And one suspect in the movie he says is completely fabricated. That Target 7 investigation is coming up at 6.
A conservation enforcement on the Santa Ana Pueblo expected soon. Once it's signed into trust with the federal government, people who are not members of the Santa Ana Pueblo and who trespass will be subject to tribal and federal law enforcement. Until then, the land is considered private, and any trespassing could be prosecuted by the district attorney.
Members of Arizona's congressional delegation introducing legislation for a $5 billion tribal water rights settlement. It's the largest agreement enacted by Congress, marking a step in resolving what's been a decades-long dispute with the Navajo Nation. The tribes would be guaranteed access to more than 56,000 acre-feet of Colorado River water, along with specific groundwater rights and protections. The NATO summit kicked off in Washington, D.C. today. The defense alliance created in 1949 to try to counter Soviet expansion in Europe during the Cold War, and it's since expanded to 32 members.
But their future is more uncertain during a potential power shift in the U.S. This election year, President Biden is being watched closely due to political instability concerns. They're also preparing for the possibility of a NATO critic, former President Trump, returning to the White House. During his 3-day summit, the focus is zeroing in on supporting Ukraine.
We've been working closely together to make sure that as things move forward, Ukraine has what it needs to stand strongly on its own feet, militarily, economically, democratically.
State Department says it's working to make clear Ukraine's future is in NATO. Some have used words like irreversible to describe its path to membership, something experts say is not a given because of increasing Russian aggression.
The future relationship of Ukraine with NATO is still the main conundrum that we need to sort out.
As more questions are asked about President Biden's re-election chances, some governments have been talking about how to ensure NATO and Western support will endure if Trump wins the White House, after his criticism of how no other country then the U.S. pays their fair share.
The New Mexico Department of Workforce Solutions and the Department of Transport teaming up to support the DOT's Pipeline program. This is designed to help connect people looking for work for career opportunities within the transportation industry. The program prepares people for high-demand roles in key areas, including planning, engineering, and finance. To learn more, head to their website. The United looking to make a major leap in the U.S. Open Cup.
The team taking on one of the best team in the MLS in the quarterfinal matchup. Sports director Ron Burke is traveling with the squad.
We like it, we like it, we love it. New Mexico United fans greeting the players as they boarded the charter flight to Los Angeles. It's a unique experience to have fans traveling with the players and something they all appreciate.
The whole New Mexico organization, being able to get this thing going, getting one flight, getting a second flight just because our fans are so awesome. It's a new experience, but I'm very grateful for it, and it's always awesome to travel with fans and just know that we have the support behind us.
The minute they won the game previous to this in the tournament, we had the idea that they might do something like this, and so the minute they announced it, we were all on board.
For the fans, they got to meet some of their favorite players. Now on Wednesday, game day, they'll have a pep rally preceding the match with Los Angeles FC, and from there, everybody heads to the stadium and tries to root on New Mexico United to the semifinals. In Los Angeles, Ron Burke, KOAT 7 Sports.
Our coverage of the team's run continues tonight at 10 from Los Angeles, and tune in tomorrow for live reports starting at 4.
Destruction left in the wake of Hurricane Beryl. Recovery efforts underway and the new threats emerging. Plus,
it's the kind of thing that, is so disturbing to parents, especially parents of children that may be having some difficulties, some disabilities. Some of the young people that were the victims in this case have ongoing.
A therapist trusted to work with New Mexico kids behind bars tonight after months of investigating. The Attorney General tells us what led to the arrest. Time for Check on Traffic Watch 7 now with Candy Cruz.
Well, good afternoon. We've got that one accident on I-40 westbound right near Carlisle. That is going to be on your right. It is causing some extra delays in an already busy spot. You've got slowdown starting back near San Mateo. We also have a report of a disabled semi. This is on I-40 eastbound, just a tiny bit east of the interchange. That is currently blocking off your center lane. Hopefully we'll get that moved before the backups start to form there. And busy spots around the city. Southbound I-25 still busy from Osuna down to Montano. Northbound I-25 as well from Lomas to about Cesar Chavez. Westbound Breach Boulevard with a backup at Isleta. And westbound Gibson as well approaching Carlisle. That is due to construction. From the News Radio 96.3 FM Traffic Center, this is Candy Cruz for Traffic Watch 7.
Candy, thank you. Here are your drive times at 5:10. Alameda from I-25 to Coors and Montano to Coors, both 11 minutes. Paseo to Coors will take you 10.
Watching KOAT Action 7 News.
A therapist is behind bars after being investigated by the New Mexico Department of Justice for several months.
The Attorney General's office accusing the therapist of taking advantage of children. Corey Howard has the disturbing details.
Yes, Shelley and Doug, Clovis police arrested Jared Cordum after several parents and guardians made complaints about odd and uncomfortable visits. The Attorney General's office says Jared Cordum asked kids to remove their clothes and perform numerous other requests.
And it's the kind of thing that, is so disturbing to parents, especially parents of children that may be having some difficulties, some disabilities. Some of the young people that were the victims in this case have ongoing physical disabilities and other challenges in their life. And it is absolutely horrific that someone who's entrusted to care for vulnerable children would take advantage of that position.
The Attorney General, Raul Torres, believes that this is the tip of the iceberg, and there are still many victims who haven't come forward. He also says parents were referred to Cordum from other pediatricians.
We don't know yet what information the other medical professionals in the area had about this individual. That's one of the things that we'll be looking at outside of the scope of the criminal investigation.
Now, Cordum faces multiple counts of abuse of a child, and he is currently being held in the Curry Detention Center. Shelley, Doug.
The New Mexico Department of Justice says the possible victims are all under 13 years old. Western New Mexico University is encouraging you to go green by offering free electric vehicle chargers to the public. They have 4 on campus. Each one is capable of charging 2 cars at a time. They're located in the Fine Arts Center Theater parking lot near Ben Altamirano Field and the Solar Array. They are Livingston ChargePort Rapid Chargers.
KOAT is helping make sure kids have good books to read with our 4th annual KOAT 7 book drive. Drop off new or slightly used kids' books to any Barnes & Noble or Nusenda Credit Union location. Or you can make cash donations through the United Way of North Central New Mexico. Libros for Kids, Read to Me, and the Dolly Parton Imagination Library will send your books to local communities, libraries, and schools. We have links to donate and more info at KOAT.com.
The highest rainfall total was recorded southwest of Houston at more than 13 inches.
Yeah, incredible. Winds also a big problem, knocking out power to millions. Beryl made landfall in Texas early Monday as a Category 1 hurricane. At least 6 people killed by fallen trees or drowning. Beryl's torrential rains and powerful winds leaving more than 2 million customers without power across Texas. Floodwaters rushed through the streets all across Harris County. In Houston alone, firefighters carrying out dozens of high water rescues.
The water was going up quickly and it was raining hard. Thank God they came pretty fast.
This is the first time that it's actually hit close to home. It's overwhelming.
Across the country, at least 130 million people in 27 states are under heat alerts. For some areas from Miami to Boston, if you factor in the humidity, it could feel like it's up to 112 degrees. The remnants of Beryl will move into the northeast on Wednesday. Strong storms expected over parts of New Mexico. Here's Joe.
That's right. You saw about the big action we had earlier. They're getting some more rain pushing on into the Silver City area. The biggest storms seem to be across southern parts of New Mexico, and this is going to be dropping down to that I-10 corridor. There you see the thunderstorms around Silver City. Radar estimates there about 0.4 of an inch of rain. These areas in the green, more than an inch of rain. A new severe thunderstorm warning to tell you about, but this is in a rather rural area of Doña Ana County, but it does have some large hail associated with it. Here in Albuquerque, 90 degrees, but I tell you what, it is a steamy one out there. We've been as hot as 93. Now we're going to have pockets of heavy rain tomorrow over southern and eastern parts of New Mexico. We'll still have a severe storm threat in that area, and then working drier as we get toward the weekend. So here's the deal. We have this shower and thunderstorm activity with heat of the day forming across central and southern parts of New Mexico. That is where it is most active. We see this flash flood watch continuing today through tomorrow across the higher terrain throughout central parts of New Mexico. Now the moisture content area in the green, there could be good downpours, but even a better probability in the areas in the yellow, and that's where we have the ruidoso burn scars. So that's not good for tomorrow as that atmospheric moisture continues to increase. And along with it, there could be some strong to severe storms with hail and damaging winds in this region as well. Let's check out what's happening tomorrow morning in Albuquerque, 7 o'clock in the morning. Great to get outside, 67 degrees. We get into the low 90s, and and that's when those showers and thunderstorms could pop up. Now, dry and quiet, 7 o'clock in the morning, statewide. We get it to the noon hour. We don't see a whole lot going on, but all you need is the heat of the day, these disturbances riding across during the heat of the day, and the strong thunderstorms over southern and eastern parts of the state for tomorrow. And then as we roll on into Thursday, they're going to start from the north and drift from the south-southwest, so a few more storms, while quieter conditions work into eastern parts of New Mexico, and the potential for rainfall accumulations over the next couple of days. Just realize it's going to be scattered, so take all these readings with a grain of salt, but you get under the right storm, there could be some drenching rains along with it, dry skies throughout the Four Corners region. Daytime highs warming into the 80s and 90s, so dry and hot for a few days. Then when the monsoon moisture shifts, we'll see the showers and thunderstorms starting to increase just a bit. We'll have more dropping down in that area around Silver City on into that I-10 corridor for tomorrow. So active for a couple of days before it dries out a little bit as we get into Saturday, only to ramp up again as we get into next week. Big concern again tomorrow about flash flooding in those burn scar areas around Ruidoso. Scattered downpours, southeastern parts of the state. Some of these storms could be strong to severe. Drier skies start to kick in toward Friday, and it looks like it will be dry in some of those burn scar areas for a while. More of these burn scars could be a concern around the Las Vegas area before we get a little bit of a drying trend Friday, Saturday into Sunday. The northern mountains will see anywhere temperatures from 89 in Espanola, 83 in Taos, and then scattered showers and thunderstorms for a couple of days going into Friday before a little bit less action works in for Saturday and Sunday. And the metro area, a great start of the day, but steamy in the afternoon with temperatures right around average. So 92 degrees for tomorrow, 93 the following day with some isolated showers and thunderstorms to work around. A little less action, a little more heat for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And in the shift to the monsoon pattern, those isolated scattered storms will work back in for Monday on into Tuesday. But big storms continuing tonight in the southern parts of the state. And again, that's going to be kind of a carbon copy again for tomorrow, the southern half and the eastern half of New Mexico.
All right, we're ready. Thank you, Joe. Next on 7, the 100th burning of Old Man Gloom is weeks away. How you can own some unique works of zozobra art.
And coming up at 6, Las Vegas asking residents who had damage from recent high water to contact them as soon as possible.